Hello everyone! In this lesson we will learn about VirtualBox and Vagrant. Now right away I want to point out that this is not part of the main course. Consider this section on VirtualBox and Vagrant part of the appendix or addendum of the course. Learning about VirtualBox and Vagrant is entirely optional and not necessary for most people. Okay, so having said that, the question becomes, what is VirtualBox and Vagrant? Well, the simple answer is that it's an alternative to using local dev environment software packages like Local by Flywheel, or MAMP, or Bitnami, or XAMPP, or all of the other hundreds of similar solutions. The detailed answer is that VirtualBox and Vagrant are two separate technologies that work very well together. So let's break it down further. What is VirtualBox and what is Vagrant? So VirtualBox is free software that you can use to create virtual machines or virtual mini little computers within your main computer. Okay, and what is Vagrant? Well, it's a tool that automates the process of turning a virtual machine into a development environment. Now, it's worth noting that using VirtualBox and Vagrant is significantly more difficult to use and set up than the other solutions like Local by Flywheel and MAMP. Now, upon hearing this, you might be wondering, well, why would anybody use it then? So for the next minute or two, let me go over a few reasons of why VirtualBox and Vagrant is worth using. Reason number one is that it's great for teams of developers who are working together. You can be sure that everyone's local dev environment is identical. Since VirtualBox and Vagrant creates a virtual machine, this means everyone on your dev team will be using an identical operating system, and since they all used the same Vagrant recipe, they will also be running the same version of PHP, the same version of PHP extensions and libraries, the same version of MySQL, so on and so forth. So this eliminates the, well, it worked on my machine situation, right? Where one developer is frustrated because the project doesn't work on their computer, and a few other developers are just shrugging their shoulders saying, I don't know what to tell you, it worked on my computer, right? So if everyone on your dev team is using the same VirtualBox and Vagrant setup, you can all be on the same page. Now, in other words, if it's good for development teams, that means there's a good chance that at your next WordPress developer job that you land, you will need to use Vagrant and VirtualBox. So it's nice if you already have a bit of experience with it. And that's why we're going to cover it in this course. Reason number two, as you become more advanced with VirtualBox and Vagrant, you can use it to mimic the web host that your live website runs on. So this way, if your local dev environment uses the same Linux operating system and PHP version as your web hosting company, then you can rest assured that if there are no errors or problems on your local site, there shouldn't be any errors once you push your latest code up to the live site. Reason number three, VirtualBox and Vagrant are both free and neither of them are directly trying to sell you a paid or premium product. Whereas Local by Flywheel, MAMP, Bitnami, Desktop Server, all of those are trying to sell you paid products, which is not a big problem, but it's just kind of nice to use something that's entirely free. And reason number four, the official WordPress core development team uses VirtualBox and Vagrant to build and test WordPress on. So if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. So the question becomes, how would I get started with VirtualBox and Vagrant? Well, there are two steps. The first step is to Google for VirtualBox. Their official website is virtualbox.org. And from this website, there should be a downloads link in the sidebar. Okay, and once we click on downloads, we see a few links here, and you just choose the one that matches the operating system of your personal computer. So that's either Windows, Mac, or Linux. And once your download completes, then you can just install VirtualBox like you would any other program. Just open up the file that you downloaded and use the auto installer. All of the default options should be A-OK, so you should just be able to click Next, Next, Next. Okay, so once you've downloaded and installed VirtualBox, then step number 2 is to download Vagrant. So Google for Vagrant. Their official website is vagrantup.com. And from this website, we will click the download button. And then again, depending on your computer's operating system, choose either Windows, Linux, or Mac. Once the download completes, again, it's just like installing any other program. All of the default settings are okay, so just click Next, Next, Next. Okay, and at this point, we still don't have a local website, but now we are very close. We've got VirtualBox, we've got Vagrant, we've got all the ingredients we need. And in our very next lesson, I'll show you how to put everything together and create our first local website. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's keep things rolling, and I will see you in the next lesson.